Hi guys, I am so excited to have the chance to talk to one of my favourite pool players in the world. She's won just about everything there is to be won in pool. It is, of course, Jasmin Ouschan. Hi, Jasmin.
Hi, Mark. Hi.
Busy day?
Well, it's weekend, so I already did a little bit of fitness today, and now I'm going to a family barbecue, to be honest. So that's pretty relaxed, and Alvin is also going to be there, of course. And then another practice session on the table will be at night or evening time for me.
So take your fans through a typical day in the life of Jasmin Ouschan. What time do you get up? What do you have for breakfast? Just let your fans sort of have an insight into what it's like to be Jasmin Ouschan.
Well, of course, not every day is the same, of course, so it depends a little bit, but I really enjoy it when I know I have full days where I can just live by my schedule and by my rhythm. So I'm enjoying that, I guess, because I'm traveling so much that I really enjoy being home and just having time for myself and for my training. So I usually get up around 7-ish. And then I'll have my coffee. I have a glass of water. I have my coffee, and then I'm one of these people. I'm very quiet in the morning, so I'm not a big talker. I'm like I let the people talk if people around me, even at tournaments. But I'm like quiet. I need to wake up. I need my time. So then I usually go through my schedule. I look at the news and stuff, and then very often I like to start the day with one training session. So I immediately, like around after breakfast, which is either some kind of toast or proteins like eggs and vegetables, or porridge like oats and stuff. So depends on my mood. Then I go to the academy, the Billiard Sport Academy in Klagenfurt, and around probably 9-ish, 9:30, and have my first practice session until noon. So then I have a little break. I get myself some good food, and then it depends a little bit if I do some fitness and sports, or I do some office work, because I also got to do a lot of office work sometimes. So it's office work, meetings, stuff like that, and then fitness and sports sometime during the day. And on really busy days, I do 2 training sessions on the pool table. So one probably in the morning and one in the evening. So it depends a little bit on on which phase I am before a tournament. And then I'd like to go home, be on my terrace, and just, kind of think about the day, do maybe some mental stuff. I have my spots where I do my mental training, if it's a little bit of breathing meditation or whatever it is, or just, I don't know, just rewinding the whole day, thinking about, the next day, the mindset, my goals, being thankful for what I have, stuff like that, just trying to get in a positive mood. So I try to fit all of this in one day, which is not always possible, of course. So sometimes it's more training, sometimes it's more business and office, and I can't practice. So that's why when I really have these full days where I can just focus on myself, this is what I love.
How many hours a day would you do? Is it like doing drills and doing? I was going to mention this later, but I'm such a huge fan of your YouTube channel. I'd like to talk a little bit more about that a little bit later on. I've seen your coffee machine as well, so I can imagine you going to your coffee machine in the mornings. I saw that on your last video, I think that was posted, right?
Yeah, that was actually at the academy. That was not in my home, but I like schedule and training plans and stuff like that when it comes to my work. Not so much when it comes to my private life, the private Jasmin, but it's like, then I'd like to have my ideas of what the training should look like. So I do think about certain topics that I want to include in my training. I look at how much time I have left for my tournaments. So whenever I go to the pool table, I try to really try to get a feel for what I need on that day too. So it's not just, okay, this is the training, it's on the training schedule, so I do it for 100%. I always love to, see how I feel that day. If I maybe need more of a playing exercises or more drills, is it more technique, or is it a certain topic that I want to work on? So, and I like my sessions to be like 3 hours, one session, and then split and do for another 2 or 3 hours. And sometimes I do just 4 or 5 hours in one session, but that's tough, you know, because I like to think more in quality and not quantity. So I'd rather have 3 hours fully focused than 6 hours and just, I don't know, be all over the place. So so I've always been that type of person. I don't need 12 hours a day of practice every day. I've never been that person. Maybe because people said because you're talented, I don't know what it is, but sometimes I just need those 3-4 hours fully focused, and it gives me everything I need. So, but it's every day, it's different topics and drills, and sometimes it's more playing, so it's more match related, I call it, and then sometimes it's really specifically working on one topic.
So, I mean, I'm a big believer in that you can actually over practice and you can do too much. And I when I used to play a lot of snooker, I would play roughly the amount, or practice roughly the amount of time that the match might take, you know, to kind of condition yourself for that kind of, and even at the same kind of times I would try and practice that I knew I'd be playing. I know it's a lot different in snooker because you've got regimented times where you know you're going to play. Pool, of course, is totally different. You might play at 10 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning. You might have to play again at 11 o'clock at night, depending on whether you win or not, right? Now, it's no secret that you love keeping fit. I know you do a lot of bike riding, you run, you swim, you do a lot of yoga, all that kind of stuff. How much do you think that helps your mental side of it, being physically fit?
I get this question so often because I do believe that, you know, when you look at billiards, it's like if you're a tennis player or a skier, and you say you're doing fitness, it's like, of course you do. But when you're a pool player and say you're trying to stay fit, it's like, why? And I'm like, listen, the thing is, I'm not just doing it for pool or to pot a ball better. I'm also doing it because, first of all, that's who I am. I've grown up with sports. I love sports. I only have one body and I have one life, so I got to take care of it somehow. And so for me, it's also fun. I love to compete. I love to get better at something. So, but I also believe that when you are healthy and, let's call it, happy overall, and a good positive mindset, I do believe that no matter what you do in life, if it is in a business office, if it is billiards, sports, other sports, that you will bring a better performance overall. I'm not doing sometimes CrossFit or cycling to pot or play a better draw shot. I know that's not the case. So it's not like in other sports where you do, I don't know, squats, and because you need strength in your legs because you're a skier or whatever. It's not like that for pool. But for me, it's a mindset. For me, it's a lifestyle that I want to live for myself. So I believe when I feel fit, when I'm happy with my training overall, my mindset, knowing that I'm standing here and I did everything possible to feel ready, then this is what my thinking is behind all that. It's not just having a good triceps because it looks nice, because it's just an overall feeling that I want to create for myself. And also something I want to be an example for other kids also, and not just for pool, but I'm saying like a healthy lifestyle, taking care of yourself, taking care of your body and your mindset. So for me, there's so many different parts, especially in a professional life, that you want to work on, because you never know. Maybe there will be a day with 4 or 5 matches, and because I'm maybe more fit than my opponent, I might have a little bit of an advantage. Who knows? But I want to try it. I want to work on every little detail I can, as long as I am enjoying it, to see how far I can bring it. So that's just my kind of mindset, and it definitely helps me to stand there on that day, in that match, in that moment, knowing I worked on every little part as much as possible, as much as I could, to be ready. And then if I make it, great. If I don't make it, I know I did everything possible until that point. And that's something I can live with. If I lose a match, but I know I did everything possible I could in that moment and the time before, I'm okay with it. I can't do more than that. I don't have everything in my hands, especially in pool. You know how pool can be. I mean, you can have the greatest break, and then a ball comes and kicks the cue ball, and you're like, well, there's certain things you can't control, but the things I can control and I can influence, I want to.
Yeah, and of course you can't control your opponent. If your opponent breaks and runs every time and hooks you every time, and exactly as you say, if you've done everything you can do, there's no worse feeling than, no matter what sport you play. You know, I used to play football, for example. There's nothing worse than going off that pitch at the end of the time after losing, thinking, I didn't try hard. I could have tried harder. I could have run for that ball, but I didn't. I could have tackled back, but I didn't. There's no worse feeling, I think, than the feeling of guilt that you haven't given everything you can possibly give.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the lifestyle too, I think that's what a lot of amateur players, when they ask me that question, forget. It's like, when you travel the world like this, when you in those pressure moments and stuff, that you can feel it in your body. And I do believe if you're maybe a little bit more fit, that you can recover faster, that you can't, I don't know, go longer, even though it's stressful. And I'm not 22 anymore, so I can't feel it more than 10, 15 years ago now. So it's just little things that can help you to just feel better that day in that moment. And just because you feel better, you might be able to just focus better. And, you know, maybe I think you have to look at it from a different point of view. Very often people think, okay, you do push-ups in order to have a better break. I'm like, no, that's not my idea. The idea is to stay fit, to make me feel good. I just want to feel good. I want to go out there and say, I'm healthy, I'm taking care of myself. And when I'm in that mindset, I think the chances are higher to compete better.
Would you say I mean, I'm going to go through a list of a few of the things you've won in a moment, because it's just super impressive. Your list of achievements it's really, really good, as you know. Would you say you're fitter now than you were 10 years ago? Have you got a better mindset? Are you more experienced? David Al-Kadi, right, just said in an interview that he feels he's playing the best pool now he's ever played because he's got that extra experience. Now, I'm not saying he does the fitness that you do. I'm sure he does, because he looks pretty good. But do you feel in yourself that you've got a lot more to come? Are you fitter now than you were 10 years ago? Are you a better player than you were 10 years ago?
I definitely think I'm a better player because I know much more. And I've gone through so many phases, ups and downs, and I've fallen down and I got back up.
She'd be knocked down, but she'd get up again. You ain't never gonna keep Jazz down. Oh, Jazzy girl, Jazzy girl.
I've fallen down and I got back up, you know, and I tried it again, and then I did this all over again. And I think that's the progress. It's not just by winning a tournament. It's like when you look. One day I want to just look back and look through my career and say, listen, I gave it all. I've fallen down and I've gotten back up, and I did this all over again and all over again. And I made this mistake, but I've learned from it. So I definitely think I'm a better player now because I've gone through so many phases. I've experienced so many tough times and good times. So, and now I'm trying to put all of this into one place again. We all have issues. I mean, you have seasons where all of a sudden, I don't know, a certain situation is bothering you, and it has never been before, and you don't know why. I mean, it's like, you know, very, very often amateurs believe that you learn something once as a pro and then you do it great for the rest of your life. And I'm like, no, it's not working like this. You know, it's that we're human beings. We have problems. We have issues. You know, we have seasons where our mental side is totally offline, and then you work on it, you go through tough phases, and then you come back out. And I think that's even more impressive than like going through tough times and then win again. I think you can learn so much from that. So, but the thing is, I do believe I'm still not there where I want to be, and there's still more. There's much more I can bring out of myself, much more performance, much more. I don't know. It's hard to put it in words, but I'm now learning so much about myself because of the past years and what happened. And I can tell I'm getting stronger. I can tell my mindset is getting stronger. And that gives me so much energy and motivation to keep going, because I know there's so much more to come. And so I'm not finished. I'm not there yet. So I'm still working on all those details. But yeah, of course, I'm better now overall. Not because I just won a tournament, but because me as a person, I'm standing here with all these experiences and faces, and I'm still there, and I'm still playing good, and I can't even play better. So I'm really happy where I am, and I can't wait for the next phase to come.
So just going through some of your achievements, you've been ranked as high as #1, of course, in the world, in the female world. You've been in the top 10, I think it's since 2006, something like that. You've been in the top 10 women consistently. World Games 2005 gold medal, 2009 silver medal in the 9-ball. You've won more than 29 individual European pool championships, gold medals, 10 in 8-ball, 10 in 9-ball, 6 in straight ball, 3 in 10-ball, and the youth European champion in 8-ball for 6 consecutive years. You're loving this, aren't you? 1999 to 2004, and the only woman ever to win a medal in an open event consisting of men and women. What about that? Huh? There's more, but you're gloating
and it's so,
now.
And it's so funny though, because when of course it's nice to hear that, but I would call myself a grounded person. I'm like, it's something I did. It's not who I am. So it's like, but of course I'm proud of it when you go through that list. And still, it's so funny because there's so many events I haven't won yet, and that's that's there. It's like, oh no, I'm not even close to being ready. And it's like whenever they ask me, it's like, oh, Jasmin, if you win another world championship, would you then stop because then you got everything? And I'm like, oh no, why would I? I mean, it's like you still want to, like, that's what I said with the energy and the motivation. Is I enjoy so much what I do for a living. I am so thankful that I am able to do that. So there's so much more left, but of course it is a lot. I've been playing for a long time already, but yeah, there are still so many tournaments on my list that where I wasn't happy in the past, where I didn't, like in China and stuff like that, where I've had second places, I have third and fifth places, but I never had it was never my time, it felt like. So of course there's still a lot of tournaments left to win.
And you've also won the WPA World 10-ball Championship as well. And of course, for the second year running, that's going to be held in your hometown of Klagenfurt. I was there last year. I mean, it was just from beginning to end, like the opening ceremony with, I believe it was your father-in-law?
It was from Alvin's girlfriend's family. So it was not from my part, but it's from his girlfriend's family. Yeah.
Okay, well, that was fantastic. The actual venue was amazing. The hotel that we stayed at was just incredible. The food, the breakfast, talking about breakfast every single morning, everything you could possibly want. Then a bus picked us up in the morning and took us to the event. I think they ran every 20 minutes or 30 minutes throughout the day. And the huge venue, 2 big Predator arenas as well. I mean, it really, I mean, we had the first team event as well. You, Albin, and Mario, I believe, was in it, weren't you? That was a great event. That's moving to Puerto Rico this year. Are you playing again this year in that?
I sure hope so.
So do I. How much does it mean to you to have it again in your hometown? I mean, it was on TV there. It was well received. Crowds came to watch. You had that really cool guy that come and did the introductions and stuff on TV. That was fun.
No, it's a dream come true, of course. As a player, we've been the pool players here in Austria, of course, my brother and I, and with our manager Gerald, we've been working so hard to bring tournaments to Klagenfurt, and we started with Euro Tour small events, and then the Pro Billiard Series was in Klagenfurt, and then we as a team took the next step to really host the World Championship. I mean, that's like as a player, it's already amazing, but also being on the side of the organizer is doubly special, of course. So I mean, it's there's nothing better that can happen to really play a world championship in front of your home crowd, and like knowing that it's also something you organize together with a huge team. And this is also a big thank you to the city and the county, because they've been supporting us for so long, and such a close relationship. Because fact is, you need a good team behind you, so that you can pull something like this off, that you can really have this great event. And everybody was excited. But of course, as a player, then all of a sudden you walk in there and you're like, oh, that's extra pressure. It's like I can feel it. But you know, you need pressure for diamonds too, right? So I mean, pressure is a privilege, and it's something I worked really hard for. And so I enjoyed every second of it, even though I know it is challenging to deal with all that. But now bringing even a bigger event because of the men's, women's, and juniors world championship to Klagenfurt, I think we're pretty much. I don't know if I'm wrong, but writing history, because I don't know if there's ever been an event with 3 world championships at the same place. So for us, that's just a huge honor. Of course, extra work, but I mean, it's look how far we've come. I'm always sitting there with Alvin and Jared and thinking like, whoa, this is this is the big stage. And so I can't wait for the next World Championship in October 17th until the 21st. That's why my training is now focused on preparing for the World Championship. But of course, it's an incredible honor. It's I don't think there are words to describe that.
Yeah, when you think about it like that, I mean, they're gonna crown 3 junior world champions. They're gonna crown women's world 10-ball champion, and of course the men's 8-ball world champion, which is also coming to Klagenfurt. So it's basically 5 world championships you're going to be. 5 world champions you are going to create in your hometown where you grew up in Klagenfurt. The magnitude of that is it's mind-blowing, really. And to think that you, along with your great team, have put on an amazing event. And I think it was only second last year to Puerto Rico, and frankly, you just can't compete with Puerto Rico. But it was a fabulous event, and certainly the best event I've ever seen in Europe, that's for sure. So I'm really looking forward. I hope I get an invite to commentate there this year. Can you please put a good word in for me?
I do everything I
can. Let's just go back quickly to the Soaring Eagle Masters. You retained your title again. Same opponent, same score, terrific final. You seem to like this event.
Yeah, I don't know. I said it afterwards. I said, like, I don't know what it is with that place, but I think it was like 3rd or 4th title there. It's just one time I won it, actually, I think on my birthday or something. So I don't know what it is. I just feel so comfortable there. I love the venue, the people, and there's some sort of energy around, I guess. And it was funny because after the final, Kelly said to me, it's the exactly same score and everything. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't even realize. So, and even before playing Margro and stuff like that. So it was, I don't know, it's funny. It's like, but it's so beautiful when you're just in the moment. And that's what I experienced there again. It's like, you're just going from match to match, from shot to shot. And it's just from one moment to the next. And I was so focused, but also at the same time quite more relaxed. It was not too much. It was just the right tension, and I was extremely happy. Of course, to win it back to back is special to me, and I was also very, very happy with my performance overall. I always see the parts where I need to work on, but I always say that it's good that you still have something to work on. That means you can improve and you can get better. So that was overall a pretty great event for me.
I thought your safety during the Soaring Eagle, certainly on the matches that I saw, and I watched every single stream match because I was actually writing articles on the matches, and sometimes you were on the back table where they'd turn the camera onto it when the match table had finished. Oh, I've lost you. I've lost her for a second, but I'm sure she'll be back. I know what's happened. Somebody's given her a phone call. She's gone to press. She's gone to press. Don't answer or something, and then she's pressed the wrong button. But it's okay. We'll get her back very, very soon. I hope you're enjoying this, guys. And I talked about her YouTube channel, and it really is good. Just go onto YouTube and check out her YouTube channel, because it really is fabulous to watch. She doesn't only like teach you how to play, she really, really entertains you and does some really, really fun stuff. And we can see her now that she's just setting up her camera again.
What's happening?
Yeah, you're back. I thought maybe somebody called you and you went to press a button and...
No, somebody called me, but I didn't press anything, and yours just closed down. I'm like, but I don't know what to do now, so that I don't want anybody to call me again. So I'm so sorry.
It's okay, no problem. I filled the time with just telling people about your great YouTube channel and that, so don't worry.
Okay, if something like that happens, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah, just leave it. So we're talking about your safety there. Yeah, and I remember speaking to you in Vegas, and you were saying that I asked you who you thought the best safety player was. I don't know whether you remember, and you said your brother Albin, and that he'd been teaching you and or not teaching you, but helping you with your safety game, and not just kicking to hit a ball, but kicking with purpose. And do you feel your safety game is better than ever now? Because I think it is.
Oh, I definitely think it is. I think I've worked actually really hard on it, because I knew it was not one of my strengths a couple of years ago. And I also think when it comes to the women's game compared to the men's game, that we still have a lot of potential when it comes to the safety game and kicking. So I do believe, I mean, there are many great men players out there with great safety skills, but of course, Albin, I know Albin very well, and I watch his matches. And whenever I worked with him on the table, and I said to him, "Listen, just play with me, just play some safeties, just tell me your thoughts." Because it's not with safety, it's difficult. With safety, it's not like, okay, that's the way to play it, because very often there are more ways, there are more types of shot that you can choose from. So it's kind of like you need to find your own style and what you feel comfortable with. So whatever it helped me is like to see how they are thinking, the men. What are his thoughts? What are his ideas? And so many times there were shots where he explained to me how to play it. And I'm like, well, that's complicated. That's tough. And he's like, no, try it. And I tried a shot, and I was like, okay, that's not difficult at all. So it's like very often it's like you're thinking in a very small area, but in order to get out, you need sometimes help to see different ways and paths and shots. And so I just told him a couple of days ago, I said to him, I want to play some safety games with you. And he said, okay. And I said, just kill me. I said to him, just try and kill me with safeties on the pool table. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, come on, give it to me. It's like, because I want that. He pushes me, and I see his safeties and shots, and it just helps my game to bring it to the next level. And then I work on my own again. So I definitely think it's better. I definitely think I need even more time or more time to work on an even better safety game, but definitely different than years ago. Yeah,
totally agree. During the Soaring Eagle, there was a great competition going on the chats about finding Jasmin Ouschan a nickname, and they were all going to be given to you, and you were going to decide one. Did that go any further? Have you got a nickname yet?
Well, we're still working on it, because they were a bit surprised that we've gotten so many messages. And it was not only on Facebook, it was only on Instagram too. So and I said to them, I said, listen, I can't go through that during the tournament. I just can't. So, and he also said, we're going to push it a little back and then go through it step by step. And then even more nicknames came up, and I know you were one of them too. And Albin, of course, had to post something as well, which was more funny than serious.
What did
I
he
don't know
say?
if you've seen it. Yeah, he said, it's a typical my brother. He posted Jasmin almost 40 Ouschan. so so I'm like, yeah, thank you for that. That's so we're still going through it, all of us, and I even said to them that even if there's not like this one nickname that will fit 100%, we will still give something to the winner as being maybe the most creative or the best nickname, even if I don't stick with it, because I feel like a nickname really, you got to really feel it, a nickname. So, but that's still in the process, so we're working on it. But thanks, of course, for all the ideas. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah, it certainly created a lot of buzz, and I was on the chat on YouTube and Facebook when we were watching it, and everyone giving all these different ideas, and there really are some. It created a great atmosphere as well in the chat, as well. Have any stuck out that you're kind of like or not? Is there something that's wow?
Well, I mean, of course, your poetry of motion. I've always liked that, because but it's like. I think it's pretty great when you're commentating, because it gives you kind of I don't know, a little picture of that person. But maybe for a nickname is a bit too long, when you're really trying to use it. But of course, it's a very nice compliment when poetry in motion. That's, to me, that's just it is difficult, because a nickname is not just about like looks and stuff. It should also like the kind of feel that you get from that person, or a certain, when you once said, I don't know if, I think it was you with, or was it Alex with Smooth Operator, when it came to Albin and stuff, they said that, and I thought that's, it tells me something about the game, about the skills, about the technique. So that's what I think a nickname should also be, And so I thought it was, I thought Avenger was cool, because I love Marvel movies, and I am trying to stay fit, so I thought the Avenger was quite cool.
Ninja.
Avenger.
Oh, Avenger.
So and then it was funny. It was creative ones like the stingray and stuff, because of the ocean and stuff like that I thought was quite creative. So yeah, still going through it. I mean, there were so many ideas. I just I can't even think of I think it was, what was else? It was it Wonder Woman, and
it's
many.
tough, isn't it? It's tough, because you've got it, that's going to stick with you forever. And there's some great names, right? Like the Black Widow, Duchess of Doom, Quickfire. They all say exactly what those players are, right?
Yeah.
And it's difficult with you, because I think there's no one thing that defines Jasmin Ouschan. I think there's many different things, and some of those just don't sound right in a nickname, if that makes sense. You're kind of like the Princess of Paul, but it doesn't suit you.
Yeah, but I don't want to. I think I'm too old for a princess now, so
yeah,
I don't want to be a
exactly.
princess. I want to be the queen.
Queen, yeah.
But it's like, but that's the thing. It's not something. I'm not a princess. I'm not a queen. I find it a bit. I don't know. It's like you said. It's like it maybe fits in one area, but then when you look overall, the person, it's like, meh, no, not so much. And I also think like it needs to be simple, that everybody can get it. If it gets too complicated, or if you have to, I don't know, search for the words, because you don't know exactly what it means. So I know, it's like, I don't know, remember the Ava Matai Lawrence, like as the striking Viking? I thought that was pretty. That was because Sweden, and it's just something. So
Austrian,
I don't know. We'll see.
Austrian Angel.
Am I an angel?
No.
I don't want to.
No false advertising.
Listen, it's not easy.
Jasmin, we have to have a quick break, okay? Because we need to insert an advert somewhere, and if you just give me a few minutes, we'll be back with part 2, okay? So Jasmin, don't go anywhere. See you soon.
All right.
back, guys, to part 2. Thank you so much for joining me again. Jasmin, she's still here, of course. Jasmin Ouschan, the world superstar from Austria, from that lovely little place called Klagenfurt. I'd like to, Jasmin, if I could, just talk about the future of women's pool. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the women's game. I think it's exciting. I think you're a great bunch of women, girls, women, ladies to be around. You always, you know, hang around after the matches. The guys have their own little groups of friends, but you all seem to stick together. Is it as fun as I think it is for you when I'm on the tour?
I love my job overall. And I think maybe, I don't know if it's a women thing, but I know also from my brother that, you know, you have certain players you hang out with, you go for dinner and stuff like that. So, and it's important too, because when you live this lifestyle, when you travel as much as we do, you need some sort of a billiard family. At least that's the way I look at it. And when I think of Kelly and Wei Wei, I mean, we've been traveling for so long, and we've been such close friends also off the table, and getting along, helping each other. And I think that's so important, because it can be a pretty tough job when you're just on your own all the time, you know? So I think for me anyways, it's important, but we all know the time too when we need our own time to prepare and get ready for matches. So we're all professionals. We know how it works. So for me, it's a great lifestyle, and I have my kind of billiard family, and I'm looking forward seeing them again now in Shanghai in about 10 days. So I think that's great. And I think finally, when you look at the women's game before COVID hit, it was tough because we've had less and less events, and it was also tough to talk to the youngsters, because at that point you didn't really know what to tell them, because there weren't that many tournaments to play. And so when you have a young pool player who's motivated and wants to play these events, it was hard sometimes to tell them keep going, you know, because I was like, well, for what really? Because there are hardly any tournaments. We had like 2 events in China left, and America was struggling. And in Europe you have events, but it's more for amateurs and for beginners. So that's good. But then after that, you want to go somewhere, right? So it was hard to talk to them. And I was like, this is, and then COVID hit, and I thought, that's it. No, I thought it's going to take a long time to recover. And it's so nice to see that immediately we picked it up again. And there were so many people so motivated and trying to put in all the work, with Predator also putting in the time, the work, and also, of course, the money to support, to kind of create this tour and give us more events, because I do believe the women's game, they have so much more to offer, but we need tournaments, we need time in order to do that. And of course, it takes time. It's not something that just picks up right away. And now finally we have more events, and hopefully we can, you know, make this even better in the future, in the next years. But now finally we have great events again, where the youngsters are like, oh, I want to play there. I want to go there. I want to go to Shanghai one day. I want to go to Puerto Rico. I want to, you know, I want to go to Klagenfurt to the World Championship. So now you feel like there's this motivation and energy again that I want to see in my sport and in my division. So I'm really happy for that, and I hope we can even, you know, bring it to the next level and next level. So, and that will take some time, but we're finally in a place again where I feel like you can talk to these youngsters saying, listen, if this is your goal, if this is your vision, then work hard for it, because there's something there now that you can go to, you know, where you can, when you work for something and then there's something waiting for you, and not that you work for something and then you hardly have any tournaments. So now finally we have that women's game again, women's events. So that's I'm positive that we can get even better. This is, so to the youngsters now, I would tell them something completely different than 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I would say, listen, if this is your goal, if this is what you want to do, then work hard and get there.
There's some great players around, youngsters. You've got one in Austria, of course, Lena Primus, is it?
Yeah.
Savannah Easton, Sophia Mast, Kennedy Mayman, Kaylee McIntosh, who I'm kind of really impressed with. Kaylee, I think she's one of the better ones coming through. I don't know what your opinion is on is there any youngster now that stands out and you think, not that the others won't, but is there one that stands out to you at the moment that's really making some waves?
It depends a little bit on age, because Kylie McIntosh is much older, of course, than Savannah. I mean, she is a grown up. She's so it's like, I don't know what you call youngster. So for me, but of course she is a newer player. I haven't, she's been on a tour now. I don't know, after the COVID crisis, then she was on tour. I didn't know her before, so I don't know her story. But of course, when you look at Savannah, sometimes I feel like I see myself a little bit, which is funny because she has so much energy and she's so motivated and she has the family behind her supporting her. And so I mean, of course, there's a lot of talent, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of there's a lot there, Now it's just time to find the path and also realize that she is still a kid. She's not like, and that's okay. When I look back, I grew up like this. I grew up with pool and with a family supporting me. And sometimes, it has gotten me to where I am now. But of course, sometimes I look back and I'm like, yeah, but you always have to realize too that there's still kids, there's still young players, youth players. It's important to have a goal and to work hard, but to also understand the phase they're in, and be there for them as well, not just for the sport, not just for the performance, but I think it's so nice to see that energy again with the youngsters coming up with that motivation that they want to be part of the tour, that they want to be part of these great events, because I've missed that for so long, and. I mean, because Lena also, she's older, much older than Savannah. So it's like totally different ages. Yeah. But what they all have in common is I can see the energy. I can see the motivation that they want to keep going, play better, and come to these great events. And that's what we need. So, and we haven't had this for so long. So I do believe it's going to take some extra time again to build up. But it's good where we are right now.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mentioned earlier on your YouTube channel, and I'm putting everyone onto it, and I'm sharing your channel because it's good. it's everything that I think, I've had enough. And don't get me wrong, Niels Fine, great teacher, great motivator, great for the mind, but that's purely Paul, in my opinion. But you tend to give a little bit of entertainment as well, and it I'm not that interested in learning new techniques now at my age. I'm not trying to be a player, but I still love the game, and I love seeing different ways that people teach it. And I think you've really hit on something where, I mean, what on earth is there a McDonald's drive-through doing in one of your training videos? Do you remember that one?
Which one was it?
It was where you've got to know, it was something about decision making and knowing what you want. You can't say, oh, I don't want that, I don't want that. Yeah. And you went up to the McDonald's drive-through or walked. Yeah,
it's that I've seen this one. It was, I don't know what it was. It was like was it a book or something I read, and it was the situation that before you do something, you need to know what you want, right? Because otherwise the universe won't help you with that, and the people certainly won't help you with that either. And I think it was in that book situation, it was, I think, at the airport, that somebody walked up to the counter and said, I don't want to go to Berlin, and the guy said, well, thanks for telling me this, but I can't help you with that. I need to know where you want to go. So this is so I just thought of that. I mean, this is just my humor, right? And I'm thinking, good. What you just said, I'm just trying. When I looked on YouTube, I said I want to create content, and I'm doing everything by myself. It's just the script, the recordings, the editing. It's all me. I'm not. It's all my idea. And I thought, I want to talk about pool. I want to teach. But I'm more talking to amateurs and beginners, because of course a pro player is not going to watch a video, talking about spin, because we all know how it works. So so how do you reach out to these people? And I also thought, I want to give a little something of Jasmin. It's not just about teaching. It's like, this is who I am and this is how I think. And, so many times I got the feedback, I thought she was just a mean player because of her looks and stuff, but she's actually fun. She's and I thought, well, yeah, I mean, of course, don't create a picture of myself when I'm just at a pool table, because when I'm in, trying to perform, I'm focused, I'm mean, But so my idea was to do a YouTube channel, to teach, to tell the people a little bit about my world. I'm never teaching anything that I haven't experienced myself, because so I'm talking about my experience and how I look at things. Not telling this is how you need to do it and this is how it's right. I'm just trying to give people out there a little bit of idea and picture of how I think, but also a little bit of me. This is who I am. This is how I think, and so I'm glad if people like it.
I mean, that's why I do the things that I do, it's why I like getting players in the commentary booth. And it's not just to talk about the game, it's to talk about them. And I think it's so important, if we're going to grow this sport to as big as I know it could and should be, then we need to show fans the person behind the cue, as I like to say. The back in the 80s in snooker, we had so many great characters. Even in pool as well, we've had some great characters. And I just feel that if we're going to grow it, we need more characters. We need to get, you asked, there's no one. Oh, somebody just dropped something upstairs. There's no one, I think, more different on and off the table than Jasmin Ouschan. Maybe Kelly on a level as well, because you look angry and you look mean and don't want to go near her, kind of thing, when you're on the table, right? Even when you're warming up, right? You think, because you're so focused. But then the moment you walk off the table, the match is over, you're just this totally different, funny, very likable, very approachable. You're just a totally different person. And I think that's what, instead of just the cameras going off, I'd like to see more interviews at the table when the game's over, and get to know the players more and do more stuff around the venues. And I think what you're doing is fabulous with your YouTube channel. Just let me ask you 2 questions pertaining to that McDonald's sketch. Number 1, did you actually go and study drive-through McDonald's workers? Or 2, did you used to work at McDonald's, because you did it really well?
No, but I mean, maybe something that people don't know about me, because whenever Kelly talks to me, it's like, she looks at me and goes, with your figure and everything, you're probably just only eating salad. And then she sees me eating, and I'm like, I love burgers and stuff like that. She's like, I hate you because you look like this and you actually eat everything. So no, of course I go to McDonald's, right? So I every now and then I like that kind of food. Sometimes I need that junk food. It's just maybe about, I don't know, once in 2 months, I just really want to. So of course I thought about my experience in McDonald's and just tried to recreate it as much as I could. But that's the thing. I want to be different. I don't want to be. I want to be one of a kind. I want to find my own path, my own career, and I want to do it the way it suits me. And that's what I always tell people. It's like when they ask me about sports and pool, I'm like, listen, I'm not saying this is how you need to do it. I'm living my life. I can only talk for myself, and I need to know what I need and how I want to do it and who I want to be. And that's just my style. It doesn't need to be right or wrong or fit you. It's just who I am. And because you said on and off the table, I always say that to people. It's like, listen, this is something on the table. This is something I do. It's not who I am. Of course, my sport defines me a little bit. Of course, I am that ambitious and very focused athlete who wants to always get better, maybe a little bit perfectionist when it comes to that. Of course, I have all that. But besides the table, I'm just Jasmin. I'm just a normal human being with the same issues that you have.
There's your nickname right there, Just Jasmin.
Just JJ.
Yeah. I must say something else about your YouTube videos. I never expected to see Tom and Jerry and Harvey Specter in your videos. See, it's things like that. It's great. I love a bit of Suits. I love Tom and Jerry. Grew up with Tom and Jerry.
No, I should, I try to give also, for me, so many things in pool, they're so normal. When I talk about it, and I'd never realized, I'm like, listen, you're talking to amateur, you're talking to beginner. They don't know what you're talking about because it's so normal to you. And when I once started being a trainer, I realized how tough it was because they asked me questions that I couldn't answer. I was like, do you breathe during your stroking? And I'm like, I have no idea, It's like, where do you look with your eyes between a cue ball and the object ball? I'm like, it's like all these questions because I learned it as a kid. So for me, so many things are natural. I learned it the natural way. It's just happening. So as a trainer, I had to rethink so many things. I had to give them explanations and make them understand what I mean. And this is why I like sometimes comparisons like from other sports when I had Nadal or Roger Federer or like Tom Jerry or something to give them okay, to make it a little bit easier and more entertaining for people to understand what I'm trying to tell them, to make it not as sometimes I feel sometimes who can be very boring, but you kind of need to give it another touch, a funny touch. And then and that when I talked about holding the cue right, and whenever I told the story about that little bird, imagine you're holding a little bird, so many people that told me, oh, now I can imagine, now I know what you mean. Now it's like, oh, okay. And it's like that, those little details is like, okay, that helps me. So I'm just trying to really get out there and reach out to people who are not in my world, who are not professionals. And sometimes you need to talk a little different. You need to have a different language and ideas to do that. And I think it's fun because I keep learning about myself too in that process.
It's very, very interesting, all these things you're saying. And I was talking to a pro player recently who was saying that they struggle with the slow backswing. They just can't seem to get the slower backswing. And you just mentioned your breathing there. And something I told them was something that I do when I feel that I'm snatching or going a bit too quick. It's like a breathing that I do when I'm at the table. So I'm down on the shot, and on the backswing, I'll take a slow, and then on the pause, and then I'll to get I'll sometimes, if I'm alone, I'll do it, audibly. But it's just something that I introduced into my game, which helped me if I can't seem to cue well. So there's lots of little things, and you just saying that made me think of that. But I think your stroke is the best I've ever seen. I really do. I think it's just lovely, and I know it doesn't work for everyone. It's kind of one that I try to copy. I mean, that shot you play on your YouTube video, it was the same one actually, I think, with the McDonald's, where you were drawing back off the full length of the table, 8 ball, drawing back for the 9. Do you remember that shot with the elbow? And it just looked, pardon my choice of words, but it was just the sexiest stroke I've ever seen in my life. It was just so beautifully timed, so smooth, so soft. And then to see that cue ball spinning back with what seemed no effort whatsoever, but of course we all know how much effort is going into it there, right? But I definitely think you've got something with the way that you're approaching teaching, and I really think and hope that it gets a lot more people into the game. I'm pretty sure it will. Is it something you really, really enjoy?
I totally enjoy it. I mean, on the one hand, I enjoy the content creating because I think there's so much to talk about, so much to and do with that. And whenever like I said, I like it's just me. I like to do things differently than other people. I like to think outside of the box and think where I can maybe do something different or change the way how to teach and yeah, I love enjoying that. I mean, of course, being a trainer takes up a lot of time, so I'm not really focusing on that too much off the table now because I just simply don't have the time. I'm still an active player, so whenever I retire from tournaments, then I have enough time to teach. And I guess by that time I will be so reflected and have so much experience that I can be an even better trainer and coach or mentor or whatever. I'm not there yet. So, but when it comes to that YouTube, I just love creating stuff. I love the idea of just teaching and giving people just ideas. It doesn't have to be like, okay, this is how you do it, but just to make them think differently and have fun, and at the end of the day, like you said, you're not going down now trying the draw shot or the technique I talked about, but it's like if people watch it just because they enjoy it, I'm like, that's like one of the biggest compliments, right? I mean, it's like I had one guy giving me the feedback, I know this topic that you talked about and I've watched it so many times, but I've watched your video again because I just love enjoying you. I just enjoy your videos. I just love listening to you talk. And I'm like, that's like the biggest compliment because it's not about the topic. It's just about he enjoyed just the way I showed it or talked about it or whatever and presented it. Let's call it that.
Yeah. I mean, you're naturally entertaining, and at the end of the day, Jasmin, pool is entertainment. It's not.
Oh yeah.
It's serious, but it's not snooker, if you know what I mean. It's entertaining. There's razzmatazz, and I think it's great. The walk-ons and I mean, Spain was a great event. I thought tremendous event, a great advert for pool, the Spanish Open. With the crowds and the fancy dress and, a little bit more like darts is, that kind of thing. And I'm just hoping that Paul doesn't go too far down the snooker route with the referees. I know you want quiet when you're on the shot, but I don't want referees telling people to turn their, to stop their phone beeping or, do you know what I mean? It's not snooker and it should be more entertaining. And I think we'd get more crowds to go to these events if it was more of a show kind of thing. What do you think?
It's never good to copy anything. You always got to find your own style, your own path. Then you're unique, then you are an original. Yes, we have similar sports and we can look at them and say, okay, that's how they do it and that's what worked for them. But copying something just because it works for them, I never believe it's a good idea. I think you can take this idea and then put it in your sport and try to find your own way. And I think we're just there now with much more events, with bigger events. Look at some venues now. When you look at Klagenfurt, when you look at Puerto Rico, venues are changing. But of course, it takes time. Whenever I hear players complain, I'm like, listen, this is not something that just works from one tournament to the next. The industry has to follow, the players have to follow, the organizers have to follow. So it takes time for that process, but we need to believe in our sport. We need to find a way to reach out. There are so many pool players out there. There are so many, even if there's just amateurs. I mean, we're such a huge sport when you look at all the people who just love playing pool. And so we have the potential, and now we just need to go step by step with this project, with this product that we have, and be as open as possible to also go new ways and look at new ideas. Because I've never been a fan of thinking, oh, that's how we always did it. And I'm like, so, yeah. I mean, the sport is changing, people are changing, the world is changing. So why shouldn't we change? It's just, I think we're right there now. We have so much more potential, and I hope so many more people realize that, because then we can go further and we can create this great sport.
Well said. Now then, just to change things up a little bit, I looked up your name. I love, if I know I'm going to be talking to somebody, I'd like to know a little bit about their name and what their name means. And I looked up the word Ouschan, as it should be said, apparently. That's what it said on the little speaker thing that you can click on. Your name actually means change, lover, intelligence, and confidence.
Oh, that sounds good.
Good, huh? And
Oh
also,
yeah, that's it.
also, it's not very common. It's the 2,891,080th most popular surname in the world. And the
I said
highest,
I'm different.
you are very different. And the most people with that surname actually live in Liechtenstein.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting.
There's approximately 144 people with your surname. Now, if you put that into perspective, my surname, White, is the 15th most common surname in the
Oh my. Oh wow. Yeah.
So you're pretty unique, Jasmin.
That's good. Oh, that's funny. That's very funny.
There's more. Now, I know you're into yoga and meditation. I don't know whether you're into feng shui or crystals or stones or anything like that, are you?
Well, actually, it was also not much yoga, to be honest. I've done it a few years ago, a little bit. I should do it more, to be honest, but it was more like meditation a little bit. Yeah, and stuff like that with breathing exercises. That's more my style. Yeah.
I've seen you doing yoga on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, for Instagram. That was Instagram yoga.
We'll leave that there. Now,
yeah.
numerology.
Okay.
Right. The number of the name Ouschan or Ocean is 9. Right. This is interesting. Now, numerology is a practice that assigns numerical values to letters in a name to determine the significance of that name.
Right.
The expression number, also known as the destiny number of the name Ocean, is, wait for it, 9. The heart's desire number or soul number is yet another aspect of numerology. And for the name Ocean, the heart's desire number is 1. One more. Finally, the personality number of the name Ocean is 8. So we've got 1, 8, and 9. Now, how spooky is that? You always hit the 1 ball, right? When you're playing. Number 8 is very, very important in the game of pool. And also number 9 is as well.
I would even say making 8 and 9 is important to be number 1.
Oh, see? Clever. Look, I really don't want to keep you much longer because I know you've got lots to do. So if I can just run through some very, very quick questions with you about the game in general. What is your favourite game to play?
That's difficult. I mean, I would say 9 and 10 ball. Maybe a little bit more 10 ball because of the luck factor.
Golden break, yes or no?
No.
3-point rule, yes or no?
Yes.
The kitchen, balls past the kitchen. Why is it called the kitchen, do you know?
No, why is it called the kitchen?
Do you want me to tell you quickly?
Yeah, sure.
Right. When people started getting pool tables in houses in America, the rooms that they were put in weren't very big. And they would put them in the dining room, which was next to the kitchen. So they'd always have the breaking end up the kitchen, where the kitchen was, so that they could open the doors and break from the kitchen.
That's brilliant.
Do you believe me? Do you believe that?
Oh my. Oh my.
Let's just go through your equipment very, very quickly. Your Predator Sponge player. What 3 cues are in your case? Play-in, break, and jump.
I have the Pantera, the latest limited edition cue with the Revo 12.4. And I think it's a medium tip. I have the BK Rush in red. And then I have the Predator Air Rush jump cue. So I'm not just saying this because I'm a predator, because I'm really happy with my equipment actually. And the Patera series has been such a beautiful cue line. So I'm really happy with that. And I have my own cue case, of course, the Jasmin Ouschan limited edition cue case, which is a soft sports case in white and black. I love white.
Thank you. I love you. I love you too.
So that's my own case. And then, of course, I got a lot of extra stuff in there. Chalk, of course, by Predator. The new soft chalk, actually.
Coming out soon, right? I'm hearing really, really good things about it, actually.
No, I'm pretty happy with that. So sticking to this.
And if you could give a player one really important coaching tip, what would you say to them?
Two things, actually, I would say.
Okay.
Never forget why you started, because you started because you love the game and you enjoy and you're having fun. And I think very often you forget that with time, when you're just focused too much on goals and winning. And the second is winning is great, but mistakes and losses give you a chance to become an even better player. And you need to open up and look at those mistakes and losses, because only when you open up and you look at them and then you work with them, you can learn from it. And you have the biggest potential you have is when you lose, and when you make bad mistakes. That's the biggest potential there, even though it feels crap in this moment. But this gives you, if you look at it right, you can become a much greater and better player because of it.
Sound advice. So where are you off to next? You say China?
Yep, I think it's another week left of practice, and then leaving on Sunday for Shanghai. So first time China after 4 years, I think.
Wow, yeah, that'll be fun, right?
Yeah, looking forward.
I think Kelly's already there, actually. She was just with me here in Thailand. I don't know whether you know.
Yeah, she's going Croatia now. I just go on the phone. I mean, I'm like, all right.
Manila, Thailand.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we've spoken extensively about your YouTube channel. Where can people follow you on social media if they want to get more content from you and maybe ask you a question from time to time? How can they get hold of you, Jasmin?
Well, of course, YouTube is big now because of I'm very much into the video producing now, and I love this. I love this channel. So YouTube, of course, Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram, of course. I'm also doing on Facebook, which is called the Jasmin Ouschan Official Fan Club. Don't be confused. There are more Jasmin Ouschans out there. It's not me. The official one is the Jasmin Ouschan Official Fan Club. That's actually me with my logo. But of course, nowadays, I'm doing much more on Instagram and YouTube. But those social media platforms, I'm on it. So whenever you write any, if you send me messages or comment something, I go through it most of the time, but sometimes there are so many comments that I can't go through all of them. But these are my platforms, yeah.
But there might be 144 oceans in Liechtenstein, but there's only one Jasmin Ouschan.
Yeah, don't get confused. It's not me.
Just leaves me to thank you so much. This is something I can now tick off my bucket list. I've actually sat down with Jasmin Ouschan and had a nice interview, albeit via Zoom, but it's still been so lovely, and I've really enjoyed your company. And I'm going to let you get off and go to your barbecue. Who's cooking, you or Albin or somebody else?
It's actually my uncle, or our uncle. So he's inviting us. So we're actually the guests. We can enjoy. So it's going to be a really nice family barbecue.
Well, Jasmin, thank you so much for joining me. And as we say here in Thailand, Sawadee ka. See you soon.
I agree. Thank you so much, Mark, and anytime, of course. And of course, thanks to all the people watching and supporting me and, watching YouTube and all that. I mean, I really appreciate it, because I'm also doing it for the fans. So, and I know they're important, it just gives me so much energy to keep going. When's the next video coming out? Are you working on it now? I actually just posted the last one, and next week I'm going to record a new one. So still thinking about the topic, I just go with the flow. It's like waiting for the next episode to come out on Netflix of your favorite. That's good. Yeah, exactly. Okay, Jasmin Ouschan,
Thank you so much, and good luck in China and Michigan
Thank
and
you.
in Austria also, of course.
Thank you. Mark, I see you soon. Thanks for the interview.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.